very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on our television. I'm Ashing Sani Veera Sinha. Let's have a look at the headlines first. European Union announces grants worth 8.26 billion rupees to support Sri Lanka's justice sector and mitigating climate change. Police warns the general public on engaging in transactions just believing the documents. News in detail. The European Union today announced the signing of 3 grants worth 8.26 billion rupees, which will support Sri Lanka's justice sector, help improve food safety and strengthen efforts to mitigate climate change. Accordingly, the grants were signed on behalf of the government of Sri Lanka by Secretary to the Treasury S.R. Artigala and were presented by the Ambassador of the Delegation of the European Union to Sri Lanka, Dennis Joiby. The Secretary to the Treasury said that these grants will reinforce the government's efforts to strengthen the justice sector, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in Sri Lanka and to improve food safety and quality, targeting exports. The 4.16 billion rupee justice sector support program, designed in close consultation with the relevant actors and institutions, will focus on providing capacity development and technical assistance. The overarching goal is to increase efficiency and effectiveness, reduce caseloads in the courts, and in particular to improve access to justice. The program will be mainly implemented by UNDP and UNICEF. 2.31 billion rupees will help improve food safety, quality and promote organic agriculture, and it will strengthen the competitiveness of the agriculture sector through the adoption of good agriculture and hygienic practices, an updated risk-based food control system and increased consumer awareness. On the other hand, 1.79 billion rupee reducing greenhouse gas emissions in the industrial sector project is in response to a request made by the Ministries of Environment, Power and Industry to support a shift towards a competitive, resource-efficient, low-carbon and climate-resilient industrial sector in Sri Lanka. The Monetary Board of the Central Bank has decided the winding up of ETI Finance Limited and sought the assistance of a competent court for the job. Central Bank also announces that the remaining depositors will be paid during the winding up process, and the legal actions against the directors and the other wrongdoers will continue without any hindrance. Due to the various irregularities taken place since 2011, Central Bank appointed a panel of management to oversee the affairs of the ETI Finance in January 2018. Central Bank also directed the ETI Finance to look for suitable investors to revive the company, but the company has failed to find a viable investment proposal during last years. In the meantime, 30% of ETIF deposits was repaid in 2018 and 2019. Having considered the continuously deteriorating financial condition and non-availability of a viable revival plan, the Monetary Board decided to suspend the business of ETIF in terms of the rules and regulations on financial institutions. During the period of suspension, payment of compensation for the insured depositors under the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme was commenced through island-wide branches of the People's Bank. By the end of 2020, a sum of 8,941.6 million rupees has been paid for 65% of the insured depositors out of the total of 37,586, up to a maximum of 600,000 rupees per insured depositor. Even though the recovery of loans continued during the suspension period, there was no considerable amount recovered by the company. Central Bank also says that the appointed management will continue to pay compensation payment to the eligible depositors of ETIF who have not received their compensation payment so far, up to a maximum of 600,000 rupees per depositor. Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena seeks the assistance of honorary consuls based in Colombo to encourage foreign investors to invest in Sri Lanka. Minister made this request at a recent meeting held with the honorary consuls based in Colombo at the Foreign Ministry. Minister Gunawardena further reiterated the importance of mutually assisting each other to revive the world economy as a collective effort amidst the pandemic. Foreign Secretary Admiral Professor Jainath Kolambage, speaking to the gathering, explained that the weather conditions of the previous year had a positive impact on the tea production of the country. Hence, Sri Lanka is in an advantageous position to market its quality tea worldwide. State Minister Tharaka Balasuriya also explained the State Ministry's role of positively promoting regional cooperation under three pillars in line with the vision and guidance of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The State Minister expressed hope on the assistance of all stakeholders concerned towards this endeavour. The meeting also created a platform for a dialogue between the honorary consuls and the Foreign Ministry officials in current topics, which included ways and means of bringing investors to Sri Lanka during the period of the pandemic, opening the airport for tourists, and the new foreign policy of Sri Lanka. Representing the ministry, the Foreign Minister, State Minister of Regional Cooperation, Foreign Secretary and senior officials participated at the meeting. Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. Police request the individuals or the institutes which are operating rent-a-car services to take appropriate precautionary steps to prevent them being victims of organised rackets. Police spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana yesterday said that they were capable of arresting 3 persons who were involved in such rackets, along with 17 cars and a van worth over 100 million rupees. The Mullaeriyawa police has seized 17 cars and a van and arrested 3 persons involved in a large-scale racket of obtaining vehicles on rent and later selling them with changes to the vehicles. The racketeers had rented the vehicles by furnishing forged identity cards, driving licenses and passports containing false addresses and changed the registration numbers and chassis numbers of those vehicles. He said that the vehicles taken into custody were kept at the Mullaeriyawa police yard, and those who had been victims of the racket were requested to visit the Mullaeriyawa police to see whether their vehicles were among those recovered.
ඔබේ වාහනයත් මේ ආකාරයට නැති වෙලා තියෙනවා ඔබට පුළුවන් මුල්ලේරියාව පොලිසියට ගොස් ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් පරීක්ෂා කරන්න එහෙම නැත්නම් මුල්ලේරියාව පොලිස් ස්ථානාධිපතිවරයාට 0.71 859යි 1653 අංකයට දුරකථන ඇමතුමක් දී විස්තර ලබා ගැනීමට හැකියාවක් තිබෙනවා ඒ වගේම ඔබ වාහනයක හිමිකරුවෙක් නම් නැත්නම් රෙන්ට් කා එමන් නැත්නම් වාහන කුලියට දෙන ස්ථානයක් පවත්වාගෙන යනවා නම් මෙවැනි වංචනිකයින්ගේ අපරාධකරුවන්ගේ වින්දිතයෝ බවට පත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඔබ වෙතට පැමිණෙන පුද්ගලයෝ ලේඛන ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමේදී ඒවා නැවත නැවත පරීක්ෂා කරන්න මේවා නියමිත ලේඛනද කියලා ඒ වගේම අදාළ පුද්ගලයාගේ ඡායාරූපයක් ලබා ගැනීමට කටයුතු කරන්න.
Co-Cabinet spokesman Minister Udaya Gammampila assures that the current government has been having healthy discussions on a number of important topics such as the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, electoral system and executive presidency. Minister Gammampila also said that a committee which was appointed to look for the needs of a new constitution is due to meet soon and their final report is due by a period of 12 months.
There was no discussion at the cabinet about the 13th Amendment to determine whether there is any division in the cabinet. But as you know, present government is a coalition, consists of 15 political parties which represent the parliament. There are more parties which do not represent the parliament. Therefore, as in any other coalition, there are diverse views and that's how it should be. We have formed independent parties rather than dissolving those parties and joining the major party because we have different views. So in this democratic process, we have the right to possess those views and to express those views. That's what we are doing. But in the end, as a government, we make a collective decision and everybody would be bound by that decision. So we have a very healthy dialogue about not only about the 13th Amendment, electoral method, executive presidency and other sensitive issues. So that this dialogue will continue. In the end, we will make a collective decision. So at the moment, as you know, there is a committee appointed by the cabinet to formulate a new constitution. Different parties of the coalition have submitted different views to this committee. After considering all those different views, they will come out with a new constitution. It will be deliberated at the cabinet and cabinet will make the final decision.
Another annual event in the Sri Lanka Air Force calendar, the Commanders Cup 2021, will take place this year too, while adhering to strict compliances of the COVID-19 protocols. The event will take on 2 full days, commencing from the 22nd of January at the China Bay in the eastern part of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka Air Force yesterday announced that its annual golf tournament for men and women, Commanders Cup 2021, will take place as usual, but no foreign players will be joined this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Sri Lankan Air Force, along with the Eagles Golf Links, will host Commanders Cup 2021 for the 8th consecutive year. In addition to Commanders Cup, players will also contend for the Eagles Challenge Trophy, which will be awarded to the best serving player from the Triforces in men and women categories, respectively, and the tournament will be concluded with an award ceremony on the eve of 23rd January.
Golf is a game with a lot of self-imposed discipline and behavior. The fundamentals are the same throughout the sport of golf, which has a good record of self-compliance with rules and regulations, even without a referee, umpire or a judge. So these circumstances have made our task very easier. This COVID-19 pandemic situation has created the most significant disruption in a lot of sports, not only nationally but also internationally. In a period like this where the sportsmen have no games to play, where the spectators have no games to watch, the commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force, Air Marshal Sudarshana Patirana, took the bold decision, wanted to have this tournament under strict compliance with the COVID-19 pandemic protocol and safety precautions.
We'll be back with stock updates after this short break. Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 160.99 points to close at 7,443.23, and the S&P SL 20 gained 39.76 points to close at 2,782.17. The turnover was 9 billion rupees and over 401 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. And that's all the news for today. Take care. Good night.